to a new episode of Tom's Geeky Garage. Today we are going to make a first in a series of custom figures that I am calling the Dark Ghostbusters. So the idea is to make kind of a darker, kind of more scarier, edgier version of the Ghostbusters. And today we're going to start that by making a statue of SLIMER. I'm not going to go too much into it because we have a long video to get, so let's just get started. But before we do, make sure you like and subscribe if you like seeing custom toys and statues, 3D printing, painting, that kind of thing. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, all those things. But let's get started. One of the things I always really loved when I was growing up was American Meets Alice. I played the heck out of this game, and I love the art style that the art team did for taking something as simple and nice as Disney's Alice in Wonderland and putting this kind of dark twist on it. I loved how they took simple characters and then made them look so like creepy that, you know, it just really worked. Wait, what is that? Get that out of here. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I love the way that they would take characters from the Disney show and make them look like this. Very creepy and just spooky. And I've always wanted to do something similar to this with Ghostbusters. I want to take the Ghostbusters idea and make it creepy. So that's what I've decided to do. We're going to do a little series here called the Dark Ghostbusters, where I'm going to kind of design kind of a dark version of the Ghostbusters. And we're going to start out here by doing SLIMER. Now, for SLIMER, I went on the line and found some concept art that people have done of Creeper Slimers, and I found one where Slimer was holding a proton pack, and I thought that was a cool place to start. So I've kind of borrowed the idea of Slimer with a proton pack for this, but as far as the design, I wanted the design to be more creepy, so I've kind of did my own design here for the look. Starting out, like I do most of these models, is I start out with a real low geometry to kind of just rough out the character and get an idea, and then we will subdivide this geometry and sculpt in the details. Now on this video, I'm not going to show me sculpting this figure. I just didn't want to waste the time showing that process. If you want to see something like that, you can go watch the last video we did. We did a lot of digital sculpting in there, but I did want to show me roughing out the character so you can kind of see what went into just getting the simple design started. Here you can see me just working on the pack, designing the Alice pack and things like that. So now we're going to skip to the final sculpt, so you can see that. So here it is. I think the thing that really brings this out is his butt. No, I'm just kidding. What really made this thing stick out is his teeth. I wanted this like really creepy smile, and I think we achieved what we were going for here. The little beady eyes and the hundreds of teeth. Here's a nice little 3D render of the final model once it was all sculpted. I think it came out looking real cool. So now it's time for us to take this thing into the printer and get it printed. So we're going to take this into our slicer, and here you can see me putting the support structures underneath the objects so we can print it. Printing for this guy took about 6 hours, I think, to print. The print was pretty successful. The new printer that we had just purchased, this model is working out real well, so we're happy with it. This is what it looks like coming off the resin printer here. As you can see, I have the pack and SLIMER all on one platform here. So now it comes time, once we get off the printer and we've cleaned the part, now we have to basically remove all the support structures. So I use a pair of nippers and one by one slowly and gently cut this off because the model is still fragile at this time because it hasn't been cured yet. Alright, now we have everything out of the printer. Let's take a look at what we have. Right. So first of all, we have our proton pack. Unfortunately, I didn't put enough supports under this, so our HGA and our injectors didn't print, but that's okay because I went ahead and printed the injectors and the HGA separately, so we can actually use a Dremel that away, and I'll just glue on these two pieces. In addition to these two pieces, we also have a ribbon cable, which is a flexible piece. The ribbon cable will go on right here, so we'll paint that and we'll glue that in. And we also have the main connection cable that will connect the pack to the wand. So there's all the parts for the pack. Now here's the Slimer. Now he has his Alice pack printed to him. He came together in the straps and the wands. So this is all one piece. So this will be all just painted together. And then we also made a little stand that will go together for him, so he can have a stand. Now we're going to start doing the base coat. I usually use apple barrel acrylic paint, and this is just because when I first started out doing a lot of arts and crafts, the only paint I could get was this from Hobby Lobby, and I just got so used to using it that I never really started using a better quality paint, which maybe is something I'll do in the future, but for now I'll continue to use this just because I've worked with it for nearly 15 years. I pretty much got comfortable with it. So we're going to go ahead and base coat the pack and the cable here. Now I've already basically added the injector and the HGA on, so I've went ahead and super glued those pieces on, so now we're actually a complete pack now. So let's go ahead and airbrush it. So I'm just going to use my airbrush here, and we're just going to dust this with stay still. Alright, so now we have our base coat on the Slimer here. So we did a base coat of a bright green, and I'm planning on doing a wash over all this to kind of bring out some of these details, just with the wash at first, and then once we do a wash, we'll come back in with a brush and paint in more highlights and stuff with the brush after the fact. For the pack, what we have done is covered it with black and then added a little bit of a gloss to it to just kind of make it look a little more shinier than the matte black it was. And then we'll go back there and we're going to add the details of the wear, scratches, the lights, stickers, and slowly start adding things like the details of the ribbon cable, which actually goes, we'll go on there something like that, and then we'll mount our cable, and then we have the ion arm little thing here for the ion arm. You see that? I'll paint that and glue that back on afterwards because it's so fragile. So these little pieces will be the very last step here. So for now, it's looking pretty good. So now it's about going in. Now that we got the airbrushing done, we can go back in with brushes, and now we're going to start to actually detail this Slimer. I want to show you the assortment of brushes I use when I do my detail work. I've been asked in the past which ones I use, and these are them. I got these on Amazon for about $7. Not really expensive, but they get the job done. And this, we're going to put these detail brushes aside because we don't need those yet. I'm just going to use a wide brush here. It's a real soft bristle brush. And then I made a wash here of a dark green. Now, this means this is very watered down, so it's like, it won't put a solid coat on. It's just going to kind of settle in all the cracks, like you can see how it does on my hand. It goes in all the ridges and makes those darker. And then we'll keep applying this over this until we get kind of a desired look for our base paint. And then what we'll do is we will use the detail brushes that go in later and add a little bit more. So we're going to move the pack out of the way because we won't need that for now. Wipe my hand off. And we're going to start applying this over our Slimer. Now, I have this little plastic baggie on the stand because I want to keep the stand clear and I don't want any paint to get on it, but I kind of need it right now as I paint because I normally have a temporary stand I use for painting, but this one does not fit inside this. I could have made that work better, but that's okay. So, alright, so it's going to start applying this. Now I'm going to apply it into pretty much anywhere where I want kind of shadowing to happen. And it's okay if it runs and drips. It's kind of the idea. And this is going to bring down the overall color of the Slimer at least one shade. So kind of on your base coat, you always want your base coat to be a little brighter than you want it to end up. Trying for now to keep it off the teeth because we don't really need to shade the teeth with this green. We're going to go back and paint those later. I think this wash is a little watery, but that's okay. For now, it will work. Like this nice butt I put on it. I did that for Jason over at Ghostbuster News. He likes a good keister on his Slimers, so I made sure that I put a nice butt on him just for Jason. Alright. So you don't have to go too crazy with this because basically once the first coat is on, it's not going to get better until it dries. It's just going to keep flowing. So it's like if you see an area that doesn't have enough and you add more, it's just going to run off and not really add more. So it's just about to get the coating everywhere at least coated at least once, and then we can come back once it dries and add a little bit more. Just want to make sure that everything gets at least coated. I don't really need to do the Alice Pack frame because we're going to paint that black, but just to make sure that we get stuff down into all the shadowy areas. Alright, so that looks pretty good. You can kind of see what that does. And when this dries, it'll be more subtle than this. So we're going to let that dry, and then we might do one more wash. And I think the rest will be coming in with a brush and actually brushing in shadows and then highlights with the brush later. But I think this is a good start. I kind of don't want a whole lot settling in the teeth. We will actually do the teeth separately and give it its own wash. Later, once we get a little farther down the line. And this is just kind of the first stab at it. So, I don't want any dark areas like that. I think that'll be good for now. Alright, now that the wash has dried over everything, now I'm going to go in with our light color once again. And we are going to start hitting some of the high spots. So we're just going to add a little bit more color on these higher spots. So it's going to kind of make
these higher spots kind of poke out a little more and give a little more depth to our Slimer here. And I'll blend these a little better later once I get kind of some coating on there. I'm going to go crazy with this right now. Yeah. Also, what I would do is once we get a little more, get this dry a little more, just get a little air using the airbrush here. If we want to bring it out, if we want to bring it out a little more, we can just go with some pure yellow and just hit those same areas with yellow. This is really going to bring out the high areas. And if you go a little too far with the yellow, it's okay, because you can always go back over it a little bit with the green. I tend to like, when I'm on the body, I kind of like speckle it. Don't really do like solid, I'll speckle the yellow in the high spots. It's got little yellow dots more than, like I say, you can always come back with a little bit of this green to feather and blend stuff in. So if you get like some harsh lines somewhere, you can just brush into those. There's really no really right or wrong way to do this. So we're going to continue just to kind of do this over the whole body, and then that will be pretty much the detail for the body. And then what we'll do is we're going to start getting the detail of going in and doing the teeth and the eyes and the wand here. So for the eyes and the teeth detail, we did basically the same thing. I painted a base coat on the teeth of like a light yellow, excuse me, and a gum color for the gums, and then I just made a wash of kind of a medium brown and did a wash over the teeth, and then finished it with a little coat of gloss to kind of make them look wet. Came out looking pretty creepy. Once you do the wash, it really makes all the teeth pop. After that, I used my detail brush here and went in and did some detail work on the wand. Like I said earlier, one of the things I really wanted to do with this wand and this pack was to make it look very, very old. Not just scratched up, but I wanted to look very kind of, you know, rusty and very like, I don't know, like it was something from a Saw movie. Something kind of rusted, old, and kind of. So here you can see the pack, and you can see the rust and the dirt and the grime I've added to it. And after we got it aged up and kind of painted, what we're going to do now is we're going to go in here and we're going to add in some just final kind of detailed things like wires and stickers and such. So I'm going to try to apply a little sticker here. And you can see I've added that same rust effect to the wand in his hand and kind of give it that old grungy feel. I think that works good with this kind of creepy design. So in the future, what we're going to do is, why this video plays out, you can see me just kind of getting ready to start applying stickers and detail. I think what we're going to do is we're going to be doing all 4 of the Ghostbusters, I believe, and they're going to be designed to kind of have, I don't know, they're not really going to be designed to be creepy, but I think there's going to be kind of designed to look like they fit into the world that I'm kind of creating here. I wouldn't say like a Tim Burton-esque kind of feeling, I wouldn't say that, but I definitely would say like American McGee style, like I said earlier in the video. If you've played those games, you'll know what I'm talking about, and if you haven't played the games, go check them out, try them. They're kind of old. I think you can get them on like PlayStation 3. You can probably get them on PlayStation 4 through PlayStation Service, or I downloaded on PC. However, whatever. Good games. The second one wasn't amazing from what I remember, but the first one was really cool. So now what we're going to do in this video is we're getting ready to apply some decals here. So I just took a little piece of blue paper for this decal. I'm not going to print out the little sticker at this scale. I think this will get the idea across. Just a kind of little blue square where the sticker is supposed to be. And here you can see me adding more of the details of all the little wires and stuff that the 3D printer wouldn't do. I had a really hard time actually getting these on because they're so small and fragile. What I use for this is actually soldering wire. I didn't have any actual wires that were this diameter, so I found some solder I had, which was like 0.22 microns or something, millimeters. I'm not sure what its size was actually, but I just painted them, and it's real easy to bend and glue on, and so it kind of worked out here. If you look on the ion arm at the top, the little brass piece that comes off the ion arm, that actually printed in the printer, which is surprising. I expected it to fail, and it worked. So that's actually printed, which is cool. So I'm slowly getting these in here. I had a lot of problem with them falling off, but a couple stabs later, I finally got it. So oh, there you go. See, there I showed the soldering wire. Sorry for this kind of weird commentary here. I actually lost my audio for this chunk of footage, so I'm having to kind of commentary what I'm watching as it plays. So no big deal. Alright, so here you can see it all finished as far as all the painting. So now let's just skip to see the final thing. Here we go. That was a really very cool project. He came out amazing. It's amazing how well it came out. My last project I did, I wasn't too happy with the end result, but this one is totally different. I'm in love with this figure. This looks so cool. Coming up in the next month, we're going to be making other versions of the Dark Ghostbusters. So we're going to jump into actually making the Ghostbusters themselves, and maybe a few other ghosts to go along with the collection. I hope you really liked it.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.